So during the past 3 hours, we've gotten to know each other a little bit better. But in this hour, we're going to learn a bit more about TOPdesk itself. TOPdesk has been assisting a lot of companies with the changes they had to go through during the COVID-19 crisis. And in the first place, these changes were technical, but as we've seen in the previous talks, in the end, it's all about the people, not technology. Therefore, this hour, we will talk about the human touch, about happy employees, happy customers, and how to stay in touch with each other when you don't randomly meet at the coffee machine. So the man of the hour is TOPdesk CEO and founder Wolter Smit. Hello, Wolter.
Hi.
Yeah, we've already met you in the first hour, but I don't know if everybody was there still. So this whole transition is going about, well, the digital transformation, and COVID-19 is sort of forcing us to go faster. Isn't that like a dream for you? Because that's what TOPdesk is all about.
Well, the tech person in me likes this a lot. A lot of stuff is happening, it's fast-paced, it's awesome. But the human side of me doesn't like it that much, and I guess that goes for a lot of people here, that I do miss the bustle and the human connection and the beer drinking at Friday evenings. I wish we could get back there.
So that's actually more like the cultural part of your company,
Absolutely.
You say. So the cultural part of your company is sort of gone now.
Yeah. And it's not gone, it's still there. I mean, it's not just like poof and it's not there anymore. I mean, we're still the same people,
yeah.
But you're just remotely, and then you miss this proximity, this close-by-ness.
Yeah.
So it's okay, but it's not. Get it?
Sort of, yeah. No, but actually the next hour is all about adapting to change, which is what you're guiding your customers with, but now you're going through that yourself. So we're calling this hour the Ask Wolter Hour. And you can ask Wolter anything. He will try to give you answers, and if Wolter doesn't know himself, then of course we have our 3 TOPdeskers who have just introduced to you, and they're here to help, because sometimes they know more than Wolter does, don't you?
Sometimes.
So.
Any specific topics that you think Wolter doesn't know much about that you do?
Designing experiences.
Designing experiences. He's nodding, so that's a good answer. You too?
Yeah, I think what might work for me is what happens at our customers on a daily basis.
Okay. And you're still quiet because you're new, so you want to keep him a friend.
Exactly.
Yeah, I understand that. So before we start with the questions, I'm going to show you another video, because working from home has been our new reality. And sometimes it's great, but sometimes not so much. Evelina de Beer from the Dutch Labor Union, FNV, she knows all about it. She shared her story with us, and now we will share that with you.
FNV is the biggest labor union in the Netherlands, and we have almost 1 million members in the Netherlands. We are standing on the department of customer services. It's really an important department for us, because the members of the labor union are calling here with all their questions. And during this time, COVID-19, a lot of members have a lot of questions. Around 180 people are working on this department, and they always work here. They didn't have a laptop, or they didn't have a facility. The people who are working normally in the restaurant, they were helping to clean all the facilities so that everyone could get a docking station, and everyone could get other facilities. I was tired the first few weeks because of only calling and video calling. You get a headache. But right now it's getting better.
Yeah, so this is just one example of somebody who had to get used to everything. But actually, Wolter, Evelina has a question for you.
Ooh.
Hello, Wolter. How are you doing? I'm really tired from video calling after 3 months. Do you have any ideas to make it easier?
Good question.
So, Wolter, yeah.
Well, I'm not a workplace specialist, right? I think Esther, who was in our panel the other hour, could have given a better answer. So I'll just give a personal answer, okay?
Yeah.
I must admit, when you do all these telephone calls, these video calls, yes, it is tiring a lot. And yes, muting helps. My advice would also be to use a good headset. If all people in the call use a good headset, then muting is not that necessary. And yes, what Annemarie already said, you can talk to each other. But I think the main problem is that it's so efficient. I mean, like you can talk on and on and on, and before you know it, you talk for 1 hour, and then you switch immediately to another meeting. And that doesn't help. There's no mental reset happening there, which normally happens if you go from one meeting room to another.
Yeah.
So I would try to get this mental pause somewhere, even 5 minutes. And if you got a longer break, you can do it over here in this company. But I advise my colleagues to go for a walk, even under working hours, or go for a bicycle, do some shopping, just to get this mental reset going on. Your brain needs it. And I personally really do think that it's better, and it will make you less tired, which is in the end better.
Yeah. So we had something in the university, it's called in Dutch, it's called academisch kwartiertje.
Yeah.
Like an academical 15 minutes, which says like you have 15 minutes before the hour starts. So you have 15 minutes to walk and to take a coffee. Yeah, I would miss that. Yeah. But like your usual working day, do you go from meeting to meeting all day long?
I'm in the lucky position that I don't have to, and I try to plan it such that I have ample time left, because I think I need to think or be aware what's happening or leave things to chance. And I really can advise other people, if you're allowed to, of course, you can do it in this company, I guess, but in all companies, to try to do the same. Again, your brain needs, if you're in the office, normally, there's a lot of inefficiencies there, which might seem a waste of time, but it's actually quite valuable. It's where the chance encounters happen.
Yeah, I think we're going to learn a lot of psychological lessons about how working at home functions well. So, just in short, do you like working from home, or would you like to go back to the office soon?
It's a mixed bag, to be honest. What I like about it, I think the other two speakers were quite clear about it, that you don't have to travel, that's nice. And I use a bicycle to go to work, so that's not that bad. But
it's very Dutch.
Very Dutch. But not having to sit in cramped airplanes, flying to other offices, that's a good thing. Yet what you miss, of course you can talk to them, and the world is smaller, right? Talking to a colleague here in the Delft office or another branch, it's just the same. But what you don't have is, if you walk through the office, that you see what's happening, that you can feel what's going on. Are people laughing, or are they sad? Are they tired or energized? You don't get that anymore. That's what I really miss.
Yeah, but if I listen to the presentations of Nancy and Stephen, well, then that would be something that computers can do for us in the future.
Yeah.
You don't believe that?
No.
And in one sentence, he just washed away the previous presentations.
I might be old-fashioned here, I know, but...
Well, let's ask the youngest guy here. So, Thomas, you're the new kid.
Yeah.
You've only worked here for 2 months?
1 month here.
1 month. So, in the middle of the COVID-19 crisis, you got a new job.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So, you started working here. How did you get to know your colleagues?
Well, from the first day I started to see that was quite a challenge. So together with my buddy, I tried to figure out how we can do that. So she actually just gave me 5 names, and she said, just go from there. Like, ask them who they think are nice people to have a chat with. So from there, I actually went further, and by now I'm almost at 100 colleagues that I've spoken to by simply asking every time.
100?
Yeah.
And you take how long for each colleague?
About 30 minutes, so a bit of understanding how they see TOPdesk, and also a bit of private chit-chat.
And does he get paid for that?
Apparently.
That was very smart.
I think the magic in this company is that people know each other and help each other. But the only way to know each other is having Friday evening drinks, for example. That is the trick that we used to do a lot, and people tend to like that. But if you don't have that anymore, how do you do it? I think this is brilliant. What you and your buddy found out, just like a kind of baton that's being passed on.
Yeah.
To get to know people.
Yeah.
Were people open to it when you...
Absolutely, and it's really cool that it's not just this office, but now it's all the offices, because the distance is equally big for everybody in all the branches, and that's really cool.
How many people work for TOPdesk?
850.
Okay, so only 700 more.
Absolutely.
You can do it.
You're very good on the way. So actually, Wolter was just saying something that he doesn't really believe in the technological evolution of communication, that computers cannot actually feel yeah, you know, the emotions in the company? What do you think?
I think it can be combined, but in the end, it is the human touch. So by today as well, I saw some colleagues actually for the first time in real life, and I think then you actually start to understand that the way they speak is also the way they behave, the way they approach you, and the way they want to communicate with you. So I think you can combine it, but in the end, it's still the human touch that works best.
Yeah. You've actually met 3 at the same time. Lucky
Absolutely,
you. Oh, actually 4. Renske is over there. So Renske, do you have any questions already from Zoom or from?
I see
for Wolter?
There are a lot of questions popping up. The first one, like, what is the biggest opportunity TOPdesk seized during COVID-19? It's a question from Michiel from Tenet.
What's the biggest opportunity? What I learned from another discipline, it's actually higher education, or education if you will. And I think the other speakers gave the same example, but I heard it from another corner. They basically said they were working on getting more digital transformed, so doing more with digital. And they talked about it for a year on end, a lot of resistance. And then COVID came, boom, you had to.
Yeah.
So this sudden transformation, I think there's a lot of value in this. Let me give one example on our side. We already saw that in different countries, the way they approached customers was different. So for example, in the United States, it's very common to do everything remotely. It's such a big country, everybody does it for everything. Whereas in this country, well, we were used to drive to a customer. Mm-hmm. Well, now we can't, and everybody gets used to doing it remotely. And it works. Is it the best? Doesn't really matter. It's the only option we have. Mm-hmm. But by doing so, we save a lot of environment. We don't have to drive anymore. We don't pollute the environment anymore. We save a lot of time. So I think that's a good thing. So I think that the opportunity that we have is that we can improve the world, like Steven said, in a good way. I'm actually quite glad with it.
Yeah?
We need to get the human touch back. We will. I'm pretty sure. But this is something we have to adopt. Yeah, sure.
So if you say it like that, it sounds to me like on a local scale, you would like to have your human touch back. But on like a more global scale, you would prefer to do most of the meetings digitally.
Yeah. Small detail, when we would have bigger meetings over here, what typically would happen is that you would have a bunch of people in the meeting room and some people calling in.
Yeah.
But what we learned is that that's impolite, because before you know it, the people in the meeting room start discussing with each other, and the people calling in feel a bit left out, because it's harder because of the muting kind of stuff. Now everybody has to call in, and we learned that it's actually better for everybody. So my estimate...
Question about this.
Excellent.
Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Zoom question.
We have a Zoom question about this topic from Erik den Ouden. He is from a hospital here in the Netherlands.
Hey, Erik, hello.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
Isala, is that Zwolle?
Yeah, that's Zwolle.
I'm from Zwolle. I recognize it. That's interesting. So, Erik, what's your question to Wolter?
Well, I noticed something. Some staff members tend to be somewhat in the background at meetings. They have camera off and they don't participate in an active way. This is less noticeable in virtual meetings than in meetings with a physical presence. How do you ensure that you keep everyone on board and that no one disappears below the radar?
Thank you very much for your question. Yeah, Wolter.
It's a very good question. I'm not sure I have a proper answer, because I must admit all the meetings I am, people typically are very active in attending. I do notice...
Because they want to show off because you're the boss?
No, I don't think so. I hope I can get some confirmation here. I guess most people here are quite engaged in stuff, and there's also this kind of rule, if there's a meeting and it doesn't make sense for me, I just don't attend. So they just don't show up. It makes even more sense. But I do see with my kids who are in school that they say in class, when they got virtual lessons, a lot of kids switch their camera off, sometimes because they say, with an excuse, my camera is broken, which might well be, but also because you don't want to be there. Yeah, my only advice I can give you, if I have to give an answer, is I would call them afterwards to say, hey, why are you not engaged? Because apparently this meeting wasn't interesting for you. It's okay.
That's a very
if
good
it's
one.
really not interesting, it does save time and money not to participate. But,
right.
engagement is everything in my book, so
Yeah.
I would check that, to be honest.
Actually, I'm a bit of an Elon Musk fan, and I know that he tells his employees that if they're not useful in a meeting, then he will actually directly ask them, "Why are you here? You haven't said anything." And he's super mean about it, but it makes sense, because if you pay them a lot of money, you're paying them to be in a room. So why would they be there if they don't have any reason for that?
Yeah, one of the speakers said, Nancy, at the beginning, that the concentration span of people gets smaller.
Yeah, below the goldfish.
Below the goldfish limit. I can see that in this company, that indeed, if a meeting is boring and doesn't make sense, people just sign off and don't participate anymore. I would just let that happen, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't send them away. That would be too harsh.
All right. I'd like to go to a poll question for the audience. So for everyone who just signed in or checked in or who was asleep for a while, you go to topdesk.joinlive.tv and you fill in your name and your company name, and then you get a homepage. For everybody who is already in, you go to the Live tab, which is the second tab. And the question now we have for you is, would you like to keep working from home? Answer 1, yes, I love working from home. Or answer 2, no, I can't wait to go back to the office. I'd like to go to my panel. What would you fill in for this question? Maybe Vanda?
Yeah, it would be hard for me to pick. I would like to combine it if that's possible. So some part of it, or part of me, like love to come back. And I just realized this morning when I entered the building how much I miss the office.
What do you miss about the office?
Well, actually, when I saw it, I'm a designer, so I just the comfortable way of working here, like tiny things, like the adjustable work environment, and just the friendly face when I enter the building, and or people at the service like, "Hi, Wanda, it's been so long not seeing you." So that's something I definitely miss.
Yeah, seeing Thomas for the first time.
Yeah, of course. That was you are that tall.
So actually, we have the answers from the audience, and 61% says that they would like to stay working at home. That's actually a lot, don't you think?
It is. It is, absolutely.
But that means that the digital transition has gone somewhat good, because...
I guess so.
Yeah. I'm pretty surprised, because I thought that the office has never been so popular. Because people were staying at home with their kids and their dogs and their fiance, I don't know.
I think it's a mixed bag again, right? So I do recognize what Wanda says. There's human stuff here, there's good food here, there's other people around, you hear gossip, that's good stuff.
You hear gossip?
Yeah, of course, because you hear stuff going on.
I heard some gossip about you, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But being at home is also quite relaxed. And I think the good thing is now we learned how to, the hard way to be honest, how to do things remotely with each other. We just can, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So what I think will happen is that we will find a new balance. And again, I was not the one to encourage people to work from home, because I really truly believe that this human interaction is magic happening. So you better be around. Training is easier. It is, but it proves that it's not necessary.
Right.
So we'll find a new balance between working from home and working in an office.
Well, I'm glad you introduced that topic, because that's actually the first topic of this part of the whole event. Because it's difficult to stay connected when we're all working from home. So how do you safeguard your company culture, like you said, if you don't see each other physically every day? Now, how do you keep your employees happy? Of course, every company has its own methods, but one story we thought was quite special.
I was one of the first actually to start working at home. So we, as a board, decided that 2 of the board members would work permanently from home. For me, it was also a change. It's a change where you don't meet people up in the hallway, you don't see them, you don't have informal chats. So you need to rely, you're very much dependent on other means of communication. And this is about how do you take your people on this journey? How do you get them committed? How do they stay committed? How do they make this change? Which is, I would say, it's quite an effort, but also very, very fun to do. All of these changes acquire a lot or are depending a lot on the agility of your people. So I would say this is the radical change. It's not the technology part, it's actually taking the people on the journey to enable the technology part. So we introduced virtual drinks, virtual Friday afternoon drinks. We introduced Kahoot quizzes. Actually started to calling people randomly within the organization saying, hi, how are you doing?
Hey, wat hoorde ik? Had jij vandaag jouw kleinzoon op bezoek, kleindochter op bezoek?
Ja, ik had vandaag met mijn dochter op bezoek. Het was voor de eerste keer dat wij als opa en oma...
The first time you call them, they're quite overwhelmed and it's like, why is she calling me? And then what you see, the conversation quite quickly tends to go about work. And then what you need to keep in mind, keep asking them, how are you doing? Not how you're doing in your work, but how are you doing as a person? This is going to be critical. This is going to be, I would say, the difference between having people working for you or having engaged staff. Trust your people. Keep in contact and trust them.
Yes, trust your people. Actually, Erik Severijnen from the video, he's here live with us via Zoom and he has a question for you. Hello, there you are. Hi, Erik.
Hi, Wolter.
Hi.
Well, congratulations on an excellent event. I learned a lot.
Thank you.
And my question to you, Wolter, is very much: how do you attract and retain staff in this era where everything is being done remote?
Okay, so how do you recruit people, maybe also, and how do you?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your question.
Yeah, it's a good question. Recruiting can be a very confusing word, so let me split it up in three, which is making sure that people know you and will apply for your company. It's selecting, cherry pick the ones that you want to have, and of course then the onboarding stuff. So let's start with recruiting first. I must admit that we are a lucky company that we always put a lot of effort in this recruiting side. So making sure that excellent people know us and want to work for us. And there's a lot of effort going there, which already was on a majority online through LinkedIn or Instagram or other channels.
Yeah.
And that doesn't change. And the good thing is, of course, in these crisis times, there's more people that want a job that can't get a job anywhere. So we're still hiring because we know the best cherries are now on the markets and there's less competition, so that's good.
Thomas. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to Thomas all the time. It's just funny that he just started.
It's certainly funny. The selection, that's different because then you have to do it online, but that does seem to work. We have to get used to it, but it does seem to work, and we do seem to get the right people. HR in the beginning did want to see people once, but then you can't postpone it indefinitely, so they now made a choice, we're going to do it online anyway.
Yeah.
And that does seem to work as well. I find the onboarding the most interesting. If you want to keep your culture, again, with 850 people, there is a strong culture, so that doesn't change overnight. The people are there, they're good. But with the more people you absorb, can you really make them part of the culture? Because a lot of habits you see in the office in the end. Or will you see that through online means and remote working as well?
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know. I hope so, and we'll put a lot of effort in it. And that's something that you do want to monitor, maybe with some kind of app or AI or whatever we have in place. But this is the big question I have for myself for the coming time.
But the first step for the recruitment would be online, invest in online recruitment.
But that didn't change. That didn't change.
Definable. Is that an answer to your question, Erik?
It is. Thank you very much, and good luck with the event. Thanks, Wolter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let me go to my panel first, because Bas, how long have you worked for this company?
I've worked at TOPdesk since 2012.
Okay, so you've been here for a while.
Yeah.
And do you think that the culture, as Wolter describes it, is very active here, or is it very specific?
I think it is. I think the culture is one of the key elements to what TOPdesk makes TOPdesk, I think. As Wolter already said, people here are really open to helping one another, to really spend time, like Thomas said, just talking to you, getting to know you and see where they can help you to find your fit in the company and to help you perform.
And what do all of you feel that TOPdesk is doing to promote this culture and to keep you active socially?
I think first step is the recruitment and the hiring already. One of the big elements we look at is, are the people a fit in our company? Are they the people that we look for, those people who like to help other people?
Okay.
And besides that, of course, typically we would have like our Friday drinks always here in the company, and just people finding each other and really making some time not only to work together, but also to do fun stuff together. Of course, in this period, that's harder to do, so we did some different things. We had online pub quizzes and all kinds of different online events. You have online team drinks and that kind of stuff too.
Oh, you have online drinks?
Yeah, just to keep
the liquor
touch.
going.
Yeah.
Very good, very healthy.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else are you as an employer doing to keep your employees happy?
The good thing is, if you find engaged employees, and we take a big effort to just do that, they'll do it themselves because they would like to have cool work. And what we try to say to people, you define your own work. And what you do is basically any initiative that's being taken, you just don't stand in the way. So, for example, a lot of companies do pub quizzes. We had one here by the person that always did the pub quizzes, but then live. But he decided to do it online. I must admit it was very cool. He recruited his son to sing songs with a headphone, and then he had to guess which song it was. But yeah, he had to do it at home.
That's very
to
funny.
create the pub quiz. So
we're actually going to do a pub quiz or a top quiz later.
Oh yeah. Oh, cool.
Here we are. So
culture, in a sense, it's finding the right people that fit it, so that want to help, that are eager to take initiatives, and not standing in the way. And it's promoting everything that can be done to get it better. So, for example, this auditorium, we had already installed some cameras to make better viewing at the top of the stairs, but we had live stream functionality as well. So what we started doing is use that live stream functionality every 2 weeks to just make sure that important stuff can be broadcast to every single employee, making them feel more at home, if you will, and that they can ask questions.
So it's like a specialism presentation about you from some expert?
From some expert, can be anyone in the organization.
TEDx.
We call it topics, which is a pun, of course. And again, is it the solution? No, it's not, but it's part of the puzzle, basically. And every single bit that you do just helps to get it going.
So every 2 weeks we can get like free presentations from people here in this company?
You can.
That's interesting. Vanda, you also do something special, right? For the or you have done something special to stay connected and inspire each other. And it was a hackathon, is that right?
Yes.
Can you tell us something about that?
Yes, just first of all, a hackathon in really short for somebody who's not familiar with the concept is basically it's a 48-hour pressure cooker where people are in teams working on one idea and from scratch develop it to kind of, or bring it up to a concept level and pitch about it. So yeah, 2 months ago I had a chance to be a mentor at a virtual hackathon organized by MIT. And I was so inspired by it, and I thought like, oh my God, this is something that we can do here. It totally fits us. I mean, it's all about enabling opportunities and elevating people's lives. And so I prepared, you know, like putting things together that, oh, so it's also about getting international people together, breaking down those walls because it's not existing anymore. Or we really want to innovate, and this is just a really quick and agile way to try it out. So I was already like prepared with the pitch, and then it turned out that the innovation team was also thinking about something like that. So that was just two very lucky paths crossed, and I found the perfect teammates to organize that together.
Sounds good. We're going to do a little poll again with the audience. So again, topdesk.joinlive.tv. If you're not already there, go to the second tab, live. And we have a question for you. How engaged or committed do you feel to your organization? On a scale from 1 to 10. I'm curious. Well, I know that you are all very excited and your boss is in the room, but scale from 1 to 10. Or should I ask the camera guys? Anyone wants to answer? Oh, Wolter, of course. How committed do you feel to your company?
Quite.
Quite, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
No, but have you ever had a period where you thought, oh...
Of course.
Yeah?
I'm a human being, you know.
Oh, you are?
try not to be a robot.
Yeah.
Everybody has that, and that's okay, that's fine. And sometimes you just have to reinvent yourselves, and I think that goes for every single human being working in this company as well. And we know that, and it's okay.
What's the lowest number you've ever had?
A 6, I guess.
A 6? Oh, that's still good. But actually, we're still changing. But this is hopeful because the average.
And this is not TOPdesk employees, right?
No,
this
no. Well, I mean,
viewers.
This is the audience. So your average engagement, feeling of engagement to your organization is 8.1.
It's pretty good.
That sounds good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well.
Going down.
Going down. We can only go down from here. Okay. So I'm gonna introduce the next topic. You have like 20 more minutes to ask questions to Wolter. The next topic is about the contact with colleagues, because that has changed as well. So what about the contact with your customers? How do you handle sales? And how do you work on customer relations when you can't meet them physically? And here's a video from someone.
I see a lot changed and nothing changed. A lot changed around how we actually work, how we interact together. We're all working remotely. We actually closed down the offices for a full 2 months. Nobody was here except the gardener to actually make sure the garden stayed alive. Typically, doing business actually is a face-to-face human thing. At least that was until COVID-19. And now we're doing much more online. So what you see actually that the meetings are much more efficient, but much more rational and less the soft side of doing business. If you make a buying decision, a lot of the things are based upon rational criteria. Price, quality, completeness of offering. On the other side, it also has to do with a lot of trust. Is this company able to actually deliver what I need? And that's something we need to actually do in another way. And I think video conferencing is really a first step forward. But in the end, it doesn't beat the real one-to-one communication in one room with each other. You know, all the things I'm talking about were already happening in the market. And I think that the COVID-19 is more like an accelerator for these initiatives. So that's where actually our customers really focused on. How can I digitize the current interaction with my customers instead of doing things much more face-to-face? For example, trying to get a mortgage. And until now, a mortgage can be done online. You actually can do a discussion with the advisor from the bank, what you need for kind of mortgage. But in the end, when it comes to paperwork, signatures showing your ID to actually identify who you are, typically required a step to the office. And that's where actually a lot of our customers need to have a lot of innovation on a short term to actually make sure that everything went 100% online. Well, I come here 1 day a week to actually escape my home office. And I really like to see people again, to actually, of course, with enough distance, see them in the eyes, talk with them, understand much more how they're actually responding to things. And know one thing for sure, I think that after this crisis, things will be different. But in what way, in which it impacts, it's going to be very interesting, a journey for everybody to actually see and experience that. So I know things will be different, but how much different, that's the big question I have for the coming months.
It's going to be different, but we don't know how much different, yeah. So the next topic is how to stay connected to your customers. And I think we've got a lot of questions from you, and I'm going to look at Renske for that, because you have a lot of questions from the audience, right?
Yeah, we already received a lot of questions about the cultures and tips and tricks about that.
Okay, well, if you want to just share some with us before, just 1 or 2 questions before we head to the next topic.
Yeah, I think we had the most one. This might be a nice one. It's a quote from Peter Drucker. He says, "To change the culture, you must change the organization." What do you think of that?
Ooh. You can have deep and hard thoughts on this one, I guess. Isn't Peter Drucker the type that also said something like culture eats strategy for breakfast? I think so, doesn't it?
I don't know him. Do you know him?
I studied physics and not a Master of Business Administration, so I'm not...
Not sociology.
I do tend to think that a lot of things start with who your employees are, how they feel, and if they are engaged. And what are the habits they have? And you can call it culture, right? Culture is nothing else than habits of people and how they interact with each other.
Yeah.
So if you want to change that, that's hard. And I'm not the most expert on this topic, to be honest, because I never had to change a culture. I just had to maintain it. And that's, I think, way easier.
But you created this one, right?
Yeah, but it's never... You don't do that like... that you think it through. I'm going to make it like this.
No.
It's just not how it happens. It builds up along the way. You react to things that happen in the company, and then it gets there. And at some point, you realize, wait a minute, the way we do it makes sense, and let's strengthen that.
Yeah.
So we should ask this question to a person that really has experience in changing a culture.
Thank you for a question where you're not getting an answer.
Yeah. That's basically it.
One more?
Yeah, I think we also have a question via Zoom from Kenny. He's from Sweden.
Okay.
No, he's not there. Sorry, guys. But I have another one. It's from the Aston University, from Stephen Golden. He noticed that we have a lot of great features into our office and organization to support comfortable and flexible working. Are you willing to share a few of our tips and tricks?
I think you can divide it in two phases, right? It's your actual work space. So is your chair okay? Can your desk move up and down? That kind of stuff. I think it's pretty normal to have that because that's what you have to provide for, right? It might depend on the country what your legal obligations are, but we tend to think that you better have it in order. Yes, we have an office with perks, so like a foosball and like a ping pong table and what have you not.
Actually, a gaming studio.
A gaming studio.
Yeah, and it's my changing room today.
We had this video, so someone roasted us to say probably no one ever plays there and it's only for show. If only he would know, because yes, it's being used and people are standing in line. The thing is, if you trust people, and I think one of the people in the video said it as well, you need to trust people. If you trust people, they can use those perks because they know I won't misuse it. And again, how did these perks come into the office? People just brought them along. We never bought it.
Oh.
People just ask, hey, can we have this? Or I have this ping pong table in my parents' attic and they want to throw it away. Can I take it to the office? Yes, please, would be fun, right?
Yeah.
And that's how people start to use it.
Right.
So, again, it's hard to create something like this. What I think you should do is let your people do it. Give them the space, the room, the opportunity to bring something along, and they will use it. But if you just throw in a game room because you think it will attract more employees, but nobody is ever allowed to play there,
no, that doesn't
not going to work. Not going to work.
Thank you for your answer. I quickly want to go to the next topic, which is how to stay connected to your customers. And I've heard that Bas has a lot of experience with customers. So maybe I'm going to pose this question to you. How do you help your customers, and how can service organizations be an enabler of digital transformation?
Ooh, that's a big topic. Well, as a consultant, I do a lot of projects together with my customers to improve their services. And that's of course, in our situation, using TOPdesk. And I think the service department can be really be an enable for the digital transformation in the organization to help people to work digitally. We work with service departments, and they work in IT, they work in facilities, HR, and those are really the departments in organizations that enable people to work from home, for example, in this period of time. So that can be the tools people use to work remotely, to do the digital meeting, and they can also give the example to the rest of the organization. For example, IT can be a business partner for the business to work together to work on the developments the business needs to be successful.
Right. Okay. You agree with him?
Yeah, but your work has changed, right? I mean, like, before you would just go to the customer, and now you have to do it remotely.
Yeah, and I think...
How does that work?
Sorry.
How does that work?
Well, that varies per organization. And I think I've seen different examples from different types of organizations, depending on the maturity they already had in the digital transformation process. Some organizations, they were really caught by surprise and they had no digital platforms. They had no ways for their end users to approach them in digital ways. They did not have, virtual meeting software, and they were really, went back into firefighting mode, total chaos. And actually the projects I were doing with them grounded to a halt. On the other side, some organizations were already a bit further in terms of maturity in that sense, And it was like my own job, it didn't really change much. They just went from a physical meeting room to a virtual meeting room. We just went on with our projects, with our meetings, but we worked in webcam and not in the same room. So I think in terms of my experiences there, it really depended on the maturity of the service organizations I was working with, whether or not they could continue improving or they just went back to zero.
Yeah. So the future is still a mystery and it depends on your company. And we're interested in how your company will respond in the future. So what do you think? We have another poll, just to make things clear. TOPdesk.joinlive.tv for the poll in the live tab. So 2 years from now, what will be the status of your organization's digitalization? What do you think? Will you still haven't started by then? Maybe you're making plans, maybe you're actively working on it, maybe you've made a lot of progress, or maybe you've finished working on your plans. So go to the live tab in the interactive tool and let us know what you think. So obviously things here have changed. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much change did you think you went through?
It depends on the axis you look at.
Give me some axis.
So the axis of the human interaction, that has changed a lot because everything went virtual. Service to customers, I tend to think, but I'm not a customer myself, of course, so it's hard to judge, but I tend to think that everything went just smooth along. With, of course, the caveat that Bas was giving. If a customer was in firefighting mode because, oh my God, everybody has to work from home, how are we going to do this? Then, yeah, things have changed, obviously.
So would you be in the category, we made a lot of progress? Or would you be, we're actively working on it?
I think we made a lot of progress.
Yeah, that's funny, because that's what most people say. And that's actually the feeling that I'm starting to get through all of these conversations is that most people, most companies, actually, they went through a lot, but now there's a positive change. Now they've learned something. Yeah. They've adapted. Painfully, maybe, but...
There's this, I thought it was a Hemingway quote, so the English
bring
writer.
It on, yeah.
And it has a negative connotation because it goes about bankruptcy, going bankrupt. And apparently it was a line in a book that says, how did you go bankrupt? And then the answer was, well, first gradually and then suddenly. And I think this applies to this situation as well. A lot of stuff was already possible technically, or people were here and there doing it. So that's the gradual part. And then something happened, COVID, and then boom, we all did it. So it was already there, lurking. We were okay with it, and then all of a sudden it happened. And I think that's what you're seeing here.
Yeah, that's probably true. Now, something else that's going to happen all of a sudden is that we have a Zoom conversation with somebody. Actually, and his name is Edward Klarenbach. And he's an external consultant for TOPdesk. So he knows TOPdesk really well. There you are. Hello, Edward. Welcome to the table.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. You're an external consultant, so you can be honest. Is it all true that Wolter says about the positive culture in this company?
Well, I don't want to... Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, you need him as a client?
It's a really short answer. You can always give a bit of explanation about it, but I think the beauty of TOPdesk is in fact that you really see that the culture is that the people love their job. And that's what they also shown to the customers. And as a result, customers also like the product and the service of TOPdesk itself. I think that is a yielding selling point.
So as an external consultant, you visit a lot of companies, right?
Yeah.
What's your global interpretation of them? Do you think they were ready for this whole digital transformation or not so much?
I think it's halfway in between. Currently, I work as CIO for Riel, which is a rental company in the construction market. And because the strategy was to work as much as possible from the cloud and having a lot of SaaS environments, it was actually possible from a technical point of view to work from home. And the good thing is that now also the owner of the company and also the board of directors has started to understand the relevance of working from home. To give you a small example, I have a digital team in Dubai. They develop apps and portals. And working from home is for them a relief because they tend to have working travel. They traveled to and from their office for 3 hours, 3.5 hours a day. So by working from home, they have much more quality time. So I think we'll definitely go to a new normal, and I think that's the biggest win for all companies.
So there is some win, at least.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're now trying to utilize the technical possibilities.
Well, thank you very much. So unfortunately, we haven't been able to answer all of your questions. I think most of you have sent in more questions for Wolter as well. So I thought, I didn't discuss this with you, but I thought it would be nice if you could try to answer all of those questions later this week. How about that?
Sure.
Yeah, you'll try to, right? And maybe the panel will try to do the same. So yeah, all the presentations will be online on the website c.topdesk.com. And you can also get the answers to all the poll questions, right? So everything we've presented you here is findable somewhere online.
We're transparent.
You're very transparent. He's like glass. Yeah. I'd like to do one more last poll question for you. Again, TOPdesk c.joinlive.tv in the tab Live. And that's the final question. Could you describe in one word, TOPdesk C, this event? And if you put that online, then we'll get into a word cloud, and then we'll consider that as feedback. And also, well, we hope it's happy words. Please make them happy. Well, how about you? How did you enjoy it, Wolter?
I think it was great.
Yeah?
Again, this is thinking differently, right?
Yeah.
Normally we would have had a venue somewhere with a large audience. There would be a vibe there. I miss it, sure.
Yeah.
But maybe this is good.
We don't have a vibe?
We do have a vibe, but it's slightly different. But what we do have is way more nationalities attending. That's the good thing here.
Yeah.
We don't have to travel, so...
They were all over the planet.
They were all over the planet and all over the place. So
yeah.
I'm a bit sad that we missed the human bustle. I'm glad that we achieved something else. So this is a new normal. It's good. It's good.
It's actually a summary of the whole day, don't you think?
Yes.
I think it is. So, do we get a result from the poll? Or is that for our private collection? Oh, amazing! Awesome! Professional, inspirational, amazing, jam-packed.
Jam-packed, cool.
I don't even know what that means. Invigorating, I don't even know what that means either. This is how an online event must be. Oh my God, you are the best audience I've ever had.
I love them.
Yeah, me too. Big hearts for you guys. So thank you very much for being here today. It was my great pleasure to do this. Thank you, Renske, for your sidekick. Thank you, audience. Big applause for yourself. And unfortunately, we've come to the end of this TOPdesk C Online event. Next year, we'll be here back on June the 15th in Amsterdam. Hopefully, it'll be a live event, and we hope to see you all there. All C Online attendees of today will receive an email with tickets when the ticket sale starts, and we're giving you a special discount, of course, because you're our favorite people right now. If you've missed some of today's presentations or you would like to get some more information, you go to c.topdesk.com, and you'll find all the summaries and the additional info you want. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next year.